Guys, what's going on? Summer Del Piso back once again, man. Just had a long day in Queens, man. It was a long day, man. It's interesting. Not long as in like the amount of hours spent in Queens, but we just experienced a lot, man. On the way back, we ran into two Marines, right? If you guys are not strangers to our live streams, we had a situation with a Marine like a month ago, like 3 weeks ago, I say, on the bus. We had an argument with the lady. Lady was like, "This guy touched me." And the Marine is like, "Man, my leg is off, man. I just trying to take a seat." Long story short, he started crashing out on the poor lady, but she deserved it to some degree. But, he crashed out. He was like, "Oh, I fought for this effing country. I effing sacrificed for this country. You didn't do anything." So I had a long talk with him afterwards, long story short. And he would, even though he talked about all these atrocities that he faced, on the other side, because he was in Desert Storm, he said he'd do it again. He said his one of his legs, he could barely walk. This is the reason why he accidentally touched the lady. She started complaining. But his whole leg was sort of outfitted with like metal or some substitution or some sort. But he said he'd do it again, despite everything that happened. I think that's kind of crazy, man. So fast forward to today, he ended up talking to this guy. He looked Puerto Rican. So he said something to me, and I was like, "Yo, what's going on, man? How are you?" And we got into a long talk, and he was like, none of us young people really know sacrifice, really. And it made me really think, because we are marshmallows over here, man. It made me think a lot, man. Like, we're really marshmallows over here. We're really soft. We complain, we get on the internet, complain about all these issues, right? We start yelling, we complain, we go on Yelp if we don't like a restaurant. We don't like someone's picture on Facebook, we complain about the picture. Go on Twitter if we don't like a presidential candidate. We marshmallows in this country. It's crazy. It's really crazy. None of us really know war. I feel like Ernest Hemingway's words ring true, you know what I mean? We could talk about it, but are we about it really? And there was another Marine I met on the bus when I was leaving that guy, the first one. The first one of today. And then he said his father was a Marine and he understood, discipline. And he was just saying that's something that's missing from us youth. And it just made me think a lot, man. We really don't know crap. We don't know anything. We got all these, social media telling us how life is supposed to be lived, right? How to be successful in this world, right? We gotta get married, right? We gotta have kids. We gotta have a silly job. By the way, 9-to-5s are good, granted that you are not married, you don't have kids, you don't have debt. I say this in all my videos, right? But you have to have a vision, you have to have a plan. But with that being said, they tell us all these lifestyles, right? All what we're supposed to do. And in reality, it's not only imprisoning to our true selves, but it makes us marshmallows. Can any of you guys imagine taking up a rifle and shooting at someone? I'm not saying that that's the thing to do. I don't advocate for violence. It's not by any means. Are we built the way that the guys that made this country are from the past? Are we built that way? We're not. Us men, we're not. We've accepted this kind of doctrine, right? And it's kind of nuts. And we live our lives. We've fallen into like this society where not only us men are obsolete, right? But they tell us to not be disciplined, right? They tell us all of these things in order to keep us docile. Let me tell you something. We got men of the past that have done extraordinary things for our country, for like this world, right? Nikola Tesla, powerful dude whose systems are still being used to this day, right? Isaac Newton with calculus, physics, his study in alchemy. I think his study about the dimensions of Solomon's Castle, right, or the Ark of the Covenant, whichever. William Tinsdale. We have all these powerful men, right, of the past when, there was less regulation, right, on us souls. And we were so much stronger, dude. Like, it's insane, right? And then things have changed so much. Like, we're shadows of our former selves. Of course, followers of the channel, you guys know, right, that we're trying to rise to unimaginable heights, right? Semen retention. We already know the gates that it opens for us. We already know the intellectual prowess that we obtain. I don't know if I released the video yet, but I did talk about how celibacy and semen retention could raise your IQ, right? Ultimately, how is that possible? It's such a strong claim. Where are your peer-backed studies? Ultimately, understand that one becomes more intelligent when their perception increases. Semen retention opens your perception because it cancels out all of the negatives of the low plane, right? Physical stress, fatigue, adrenal fatigue, brain fog, all that kind of stuff. We know this. And that's not the point of this video. I'm saying that once we fulfill that condition, right, of just being celibate, you're on your crap, you have a vision, you're budgeting, you know what I mean? You're not being tied to the world, right, in the various aspects, marriage, kids, punishment by the penal system, drugs, diseases. When you are unfettered, right, then we can sort of peer into the mindsets and the actions of the people of the past that created things, right? These pioneers. This is what I'm on about, right? This is what I've always been on about. And probably 4 or 5 years from now, I'm probably gonna be talking about the same thing. You know, what's going on now is that we have a culture of individuals that seek to be part of little clubhouses, right? Little groups. And of course, they gotta be accepted by the people around them. If they're not accepted, then group is disbanded. They're gonna cry, sing, kumbaya, and then, they'll form another group and hopefully seek some sort of acceptance by society. I'm saying this, guys. First of all, if you are on this practice, right? You following the channel, you're on this practice, and you understand, like, what's been going on with you, marginalized by your peers, isolated by your friend groups. Trust, you are doing the right thing. Trust, you are doing the correct thing. You're feeling better, you're smarter, you're apt, you're feeling stronger, much more staunch, right? You're going to the gym, you're not necessarily like Sombra here doing deadlifts, 400 pounds and change. You're not necessarily doing that, but your calisthenic game is on point, right? Maybe you can bench a lot. Maybe your cardio is good. You could go on the Stairmaster at max speed for, say, 50 minutes, right? You're fulfilling the conditions of the body to qualify you as an individual, free individual, right? Then you're doing the right thing. Just understand that. You get rejected. You have to find true strength, guys. And that's what I was sort of inspired by when I heard the Marines today. You see, these guys, even though they were a little wayward, right? They followed their hearts. Granted, they were manipulated by propaganda to some degree, but they're a million times stronger than a lot of the men nowadays, man, that bought into the system. And I'm saying this, right? I have nothing against the military, nothing at all. Find your strength, gentlemen. Find your strength, find your inner power, find your center, right? Be on semen retention, reject the things of the world, man. Fight for something, believe in something, sweat for something, man. Try to hollow something. And I'm not talking about putting women on a pedestal, man. Don't do that silly stuff, because you're never gonna win. You're never gonna be fulfilled, seriously. Like, try to fight for something. Become better than you were before. Become stronger than you were before. Learn something, fight for something, and don't shake from your purpose. The world has gotten so weak. We got people that complain, they'll smile in your face. I mean, maybe the world was always like that, right? Because this is how they got the poor Caesar, right? Julius Caesar. But I'm saying, the world, like, they'll smile in your face, men and women alike. And, they already have ulterior motives. They are judging you, they want to get rid of you, dim your light. You go in a social situation, you're on semen retention for a long period of time, say 3 months. And, you say an idea that sort of brings light to a lot of the misdeeds, mishaps of a lot of individuals. And they indirectly attack you. They're not going to directly attack you. They have a comment against you. Someone else parrots that comment. And then, long story short, you're fighting for your life in a verbal intercourse, right? You're trying to prove your way. And that's just the way it is. That's just the way it's gonna be. Fight for something. That's the point of this here video, you know? Fight for something, stand for something, man. Be a strong individual, be a strong man, you know? Have principles. Women are beautiful, right? So that's like I always bring this up because that's like the catalyst for a lot of men to break, right? The moment you start accepting that in your fold, you know, you start trying to indulge, then you've already lost, man. Your principles are going to melt. Granted, I'm not innocent completely, and I'm doing a good job of staying that way, maintaining my innocence, my stark whiteness, in spirit, of course. But you guys already knew that. Guys, what I'm saying, man, is just have some principles, fight for something. The modern world is against you. They don't like what you stand for. They want to cast stones at you, you know. They want to kick you out of the club. That's great. That's good. That's good. You stood on something. You stood on your opinions. You stood on your principles. That's good. Granted, of course, you could be a little dog-headed sometimes. A lot of us are when we feel that the world's against us. And even though you inwardly know and on a logical level that maybe your opinions are not the most sound, right? You just don't want to relent, you know, lest you show weakness to your enemies. And I understand that, but sometimes you have to put pride aside, guys, and try to see what's truly important, right? Which is learning and ascending. Be wrong, be humiliated in public, but understand that you're going to ascend. You come out of that situation a little smarter, a little bit more intelligent. I fight hard every day in this world, man, because truly my aura has changed. Semen Retention has changed my aura completely. And listen, my points of view, my dogmatic points of view are exuding, sort of like rotten meat in the bottom of a fridge. You know, you can't help but smell it. But I'm not gonna shake. I'm not gonna bend my principles, and I don't think that you guys should either. Those Marines, albeit influenced by propaganda, but they stood on their principles. They were strong men. We need to be strong men, especially in this time. So that's all I got to say to you guys today. With that being said, I'm gone, man. Like, comment, subscribe, share the video with some peers as per usual. Don't let this place get you down. The more you stand for something, remember, semen retention, let's reel it in a little, actually. I have a great example. For this practice of celibacy, for this practice of semen retention, we're like a scattered puddle, right? Our liquid is everywhere, quite literally, right? In some of your guys' cases. Delinquents. And then semen retention gives us structure, it gives us form. And because you have form, you can be identifiable, right? You have a shape. That means people can judge you based on your shape. That's just what's gonna happen. People are gonna judge you, right? Because they don't understand the shape. They don't understand why a liquid needs to form to make that shape. But that's you right now. You're currently in the shape of a cup. And they got to respect it. Stand on your principles. Stand for something. Bleed for something. Be real. Be a real man. Real masculinity is being controlled. Semen retention, right? Budgeting, traveling, breaking culture, destroying the things of the old. You know, like Kylo Ren said, destroy the past if you have to. You have a future now. Don't be tied by religion. Don't be tied by creed, culture. You can be whatever the hell you want to be. Stay radiant, lads. I'll see you guys in the next video. Woo!